Sir Drop Bear, you wanted a top 10 kills list? I'm gonna give you a top 25. Are you ready? What is up, guys? It's top 10 or top 25 time again. I did a top 50 favorite horror movies of all time. Wanted to do something nice and light, so I thought, you know what, I'll put together a list of my 10 favorite horror kills. And oh my God, the floodgates just started opening. I went and looked at my collection and I was just like, oh my God, I gotta mention that one, I gotta mention that one, I gotta mention that one. So I'm gonna do 25 because I can't, there's at least like 20 of these that I have to mention. So I figure I'll just round it out to 25, okay? Gonna go through these real quick. Wait, hold on just a second. Wait 1 minute. We have to talk real quick. So as I was editing this countdown, there are 2 more kills that I have to mention. Okay, I'm gonna mention one of them right now before we kick it off, and then the other one is so great, so profound, that I'm gonna save it for number 2, or it's gonna be between number 2 and number 1, so it'll be 1.5 or 1B, whatever. Okay, and both these kills, well, I won't tell you that, but I will tell you this. The first kill that I want to mention, that has to be mentioned, that's actually probably higher up the list, but I'll just start it right here. And why not start off with a bang, is the Psycho 2 knife to the mouth kill near the end of the movie, when Mother comes in the basement because you got Vera Miles like snooping around, and you got all these coals and everything. It's just visually interesting. And then the knife right into her freaking mouth. And the scene is just insane, but it's a great visual kill. Okay, so anyway, on to the actual countdown. Got a nice mix of different horror movies in here. The big 3, I'd say you're only gonna see about 2 from each of those, maybe 1, maybe 3. Friday the 13th, that franchise has amazing kills, and it's hard not to include at least 3 of those. But you're getting 25, okay? What do you want?
Fuck you! I'm trying to help you, motherfucker!
But anyway, let's jump right into it. Number 25. A movie I just reviewed, The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. There was one scene that really jumped out at me, and it's this guy climbing this cliff, and then all of a sudden the mutant like reaches forward, pulls him up by his arm and chops his arm off, and the guy falls from the cliff. And I just got a good laugh. If a kill grabs me with a nice surprise like that, and I usually like vocally have to react to it, which is what I did with that kill, then that's worthy. And it was such a fun kill that I had to throw it on this list. Number 24, Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warriors. There is a kill that I really liked from that movie. It's kind of what I'd call like the puppet master kill. You know, you got one of the characters who, he looks like Corey Feldman, but he is sleepwalking, and in his dream, Freddy is pretty much controlling him with these bloody puppet master strings. And so, you know, in the dream world, you see how this guy is just in complete agony. Amazing practical effects. You always get great practical effects with the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise anyway, but it just looks agonizing. But you know, everybody else, they're trying to wake him up, they don't, all they see is him walking, you know, outside down the hall or whatever. But great kill. Number 23 is going to be from Final Destination 3, the nail gun kill. Final Destination is a franchise that it's known specifically for the kills, so you can imagine how tough it was for me to pick. And I'll go ahead and tell you, I got 2 kills from the Final Destination franchise. That one, I could feel it. Let's just put it that way. It was one of those kills where, as it was happening, like I could feel it in the back of my head. You know, it's the girl, they're in like I guess you could call it the Home Depot type store or whatever, and she falls back against the nail gun, and it just shoots these nails like directly into her head, like over and over, and like they go through her face, and it's glorious. Number 22, the first entry from the Friday franchise. I'm gonna go with the wheelchair kill from part 2. This is such a great and inventive kill. I guess not really that inventive, but it's just horrible. You got this like the nicest guy in the movie who's in the wheelchair. You know, he's one of those guys that you're like, I want this guy to live. He just seems like such a nice guy, and he's also in a wheelchair. And what happens, he gets like one of the worst kills out of the whole movie. I can't believe they did that, but he comes out, it's raining, and Jason just machete right to the face, and then he falls down these stairs. And I felt horrible for even laughing at the kill. And I wasn't laughing that the guy was in a wheelchair. No, not at all, okay? What I'm saying is I'm laughing because of how crazy the kill was. Number 21, Sleepaway Camp 2, the Porta Potty Kill. You have the character, I believe her name's Allie, and she's having an argument with Angela. And as soon as she turns her back, never turn your back to Angela, what does Angela do? She stabs her in the back, and then she shoves her into this outhouse. I guess it's kind of a porta potty / outhouse, and then pushes her down into the toilet section, takes a stick, and just starts jabbing her with the stick. So she pretty much drowns inside feces, which is horrible, but it's a really funny kill. Number 20, Prowler, the head squeeze. I would say that Tom Savini, the movie that he probably is the most proud of in terms of his kills, is the Prowler. He has actually went on record as stating that. And one of the kills that is so visceral is just the head squeeze kill. You know, it's nothing too crazy in terms of inventiveness, even though it is inventive, but, you know, knife right through the back of the head, and then he's like literally squeezing the guy's head, and so it's just a shocking looking kill. It can come off as pretty terrifying too, actually. The Prowler doesn't pull any punches in terms of kills. And I almost went with the swimming pool kill, but I only wanted to pick one from the Prowler. Number 19, Deep Red, a classic, the Helga kill, which is one of the first kills of the movie, but it's so iconic that it's actually on the poster, or at least for the Arrow release. The killer comes in through the door, and in typical Giallo fashion, it's very bright red, bloody, and you're gonna see, like, you know, the entrance wounds and all that. But then Dario Argento has this thing with windows, and the kill ends at the window, and the main character downstairs, he looks up and he sees Helga screaming, and it's just a really iconic, visually striking scene. Number 18, Halloween 2, Nurse Lift. This was a tough one to pick, but I've always loved the Nurse Lift, and it's a simple kill, but I guess it's the timing of when it happens and how cool it is that Myers like picks the nurse up, and her reaction to Myers stabbing her from behind, and then, you know, that nice little touch of her shoes falling to the ground. But this also signifies the beginning of the chase with Laurie Strode, when Laurie Strode comes out of her funk and just starts running. But it's a very well directed scene. Good job, Rick Rosenthal. Number 17, Final Destination 5, The Gymnast. I had to include this one. This is one of those that really, they take advantage of the time. It starts off on like the balance beam, and they just stretch this kill out forever. And, you know, and they have like this nail on the balance beam, so you're thinking that she's going to step on the nail, so that really gets under your skin. And then eventually she gets on the, I'll call them monkey bars, because I'm not a gymnast and I don't know the terminology, okay? But it looks like monkey bars, whatever. You guys will tell me in the comments. She's doing all these flips and twists, and when she comes down, her body folds upon itself. And it's one of those like really shocking kills. Like you have to catch a breath when it happens because it's so abrupt. It's so quick. But after you catch your breath, you're gut laughing. It's an insane kill. Number 16, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first movie, the meat hook scene. It's an iconic scene. This is one of the most like photographed in terms of like publicity photos, but you can feel when Leatherface lifts that girl up and puts her on top of that meat hook. As soon as her body like starts coming down, you feel that tug in your back. And if you can give me a kill where I can physically feel what's going on, then that's saying something. Number 15, got a nice little surprise for you. I Spit on Your Grave, the original from 1978. It's a tough movie to watch, okay? This is a rape revenge movie. And the rape scenes last for over and over like 45 minutes. It's not a movie that I've seen that often, but there is one kill in this movie that I will never forget. When she's getting her revenge and she seduces this guy into her bathtub, and then in the bathtub, she cuts his penis off. And all of a sudden, the bathtub just fills with blood. And it's insane. And I grab my manhood every time I watch that kill. I guess you could call it the Bobbit kill. Am I dating myself? Number 14, I figured I'd throw in something new, okay? There's a recent movie called Becky. And I just reviewed it, actually. And there is a kill in there that was very creative. Because when you take a child, you know, what do children do? They have their school supplies. And so Becky kills her victims with her school supplies, with like a ruler and her pencils and whatnot, all that stuff. You know, she's in her playhouse and they come out there. They underestimate her, of course, because she's a child. They don't hold back in terms of the kill. I mean, it's very bloody, actually. And Lulu Wilson really sells the scene, too. She's great. But if you haven't seen Becky, definitely check it out. But that is a really fun and bloody-ass kill. Number 13, Saw Reverse Bear Trap. Need I say more? Just the idea of Saw and coming up with all these different games for your victims. The one that really stayed with me, though, was the Reverse Bear Trap. And this was one of Jigsaw's first victims who gets away, you know, who's released. But the reverse bear trap is exactly what it sounds like. You know, she's got a certain amount of time before the bear trap opens up and rips her jaw in half. And every time I watch that scene, I'm just like grabbing my jaw and like, oh my God, that can't really hurt. I mean, does that really hurt? It kind of hurts. Number 12, another Friday the 13th. I apologize, but you're going to thank me after I tell you which kill because it's so great. The reverse backbend. This is from part 6, and you got the sheriff. He is running from Jason, and Jason catches up with him, and they're fighting on the ground, and he's on top of Jason, and what does Jason do? He grabs him by the shoulders and folds his body all the way back. And again, this is one of those that's going to cause you physical pain. I feel the pain in my back every time I watch this scene, and just hearing the crunch sounds as his back is going back is so satisfying. Number 11, The Beyond. You got to have a Fulci movie on here, right? And The Beyond has some really gruesome scenes, but there's one scene that really sticks with me, and it's not the spider scene, which that one does stick with me too, but it's the face melt scene. When you have, I think this widow comes in, and you have this, like, I think it's like a coroner's room. You got all these dead bodies lying on the tables, and she sees something that frightens her, and so she falls on the ground, and then you have this jar of acid that falls on her face, and you slowly see her face start to melt and disintegrate. It's sort of like Poltergeist, but Poltergeist doesn't count because the guy didn't die, you know, and it was just like his imagination. These are actual deaths. Okay, we're into the top 10. Number 10, Pieces, one of my all-time favorite slashers. It was tough to pick a favorite kill out of Pieces because there's so many good ones. You got limbs being sawed off with a chainsaw, but the one that I actually liked the most was the waterbed kill, actually. I was gonna pick the shower kill, but really that's more of like an aftermath type thing. I mean, you do see the chainsaw go through the side, but like I said, the waterbed kill I think is the most satisfying because the kill is there from start to finish. You know, you see the victim, she's running from the killer, she ends up on this waterbed. He's got just a simple knife, and he stabs her, he stabs the waterbed, but there's blood all over the place, and then he stabs the knife in the back of her neck, and it comes out the front of her mouth. Just a visually striking, inventive kill. And what's funny is when you watch it, you can see the knife like bend from one of the angles, and then it cuts to the knife coming out of her mouth. But still, even though you can see the knife bend, it's still a very satisfying kill. Number 9, Bay of Blood or Twitch of the Death Nerve. This was another one that's got a lot of really good kills in it, but the one I'm going to do is, I guess you could call it the shish kebab kill, even though Happy Birthday to Me has a shish kebab kill too, just completely different in nature. But this one, yeah, you have this couple having sex, and the killer thrusts this like wooden staff with a spike right through their back. Well, doesn't that sound familiar? Of course it does, because that's what they do in Friday the 13th Part 2. But Twitch of the Death Nerve did it first, and they did it best, actually, because they don't really show anything in the Friday Part 2. This one actually shows it and lets it linger. Number 8, another Italian horror movie for you, Tenet Brave. Another one that has a lot of great kills in it, but I'm going to go with Jane's kill because this one is probably one of the most visceral, even emotional, but it doesn't hold back whatsoever. She literally gets her arm chopped off, and then visually it's so striking because her arm like paints blood across the wall, and then she ends up on the ground, and then she's savagely stabbed to death. It's pure giallo slasher goodness. Number 7, Nightmare on Elm Street. Gonna go with Tina's death. That's the obvious choice. This is such an iconic scene. From here on out, guys, too, you're gonna get really iconic kill scenes. But, I mean, just logistically, how they did this scene, you know, the room being upside down, so it really kind of messes with your equilibrium too. It definitely messed with Amanda Weiss's. But this whole scene plays out in like different stages. You know, with her body laying on the bed, she comes up and then you see the slices across her chest, and then she's like crawling all over the ceiling, blood everywhere. A recurring theme in this list is a lot of blood, okay guys? But that scene is the stuff of legend. Number 6, this is a personal favorite. This is for me, okay? Halloween 6, The Lab Massacre. And I think it earns its place, you know, because very few times do we see Myers kill multiple victims and just go completely nuts. So when I saw Halloween 6, and I'm loving the movie, when they get to the final act, when he goes up to this the lab and he grabs like his weapon of choice, which is this big ass knife. I just love the way Joe Chappelle directed this scene. It's chaotic, it's insane. It's just a different way of presenting a kill scene. And it's scary. It's actually really scary. Seeing this in the theater, I remember everybody in the theater was like, holy shit, when you saw all that blood and Myers just stabbing away. It really showcases how dangerous Myers is, and you do not want to piss him off. Number 5, Jason X, the face smash. Probably considered one of the greatest kills in not only Friday, but in like slasher history. Jason X isn't even that great of a movie. I think it's fun. But man, that kill is so great. Jason grabs this girl, dunks her head into this like cryo bath, pulls it back up, slams it on the table, and her head just completely explodes. Worth the price of admission alone. Number 4, Just Before Dawn. This movie really surprised the hell out of me. I watched it a couple months ago, I reviewed it, but there's 2 kills in this movie actually that are awesome. Got the machete going through the guy's like family jewels and out his ass, but I'm not gonna go with that one. I'm gonna go at the end when you see the final girl get her revenge and she punches the killer right in the freaking mouth. And it's another one of those visually striking kills. And if you give me a kill that's inventive and that I never see, then that's only a leg up. It's a crazy ass kill. Enough to get it in my top 5. Number 3, Jaws. The opening scene of Jaws is probably one of my favorite kill scenes ever, just because of how insane it is. It starts off nice and light. This couple, they're flirting and she's running, and then she ends up in the water and this guy's like drunk, and so he just like passes out. But man, it's just her at night and Jaws coming after her. And you can feel her fear in that scene, you know? She's just swimming around, having a great time, feeling sexy. And then all of a sudden, that first bite, she knows she's in trouble. You know, her reaction sells the whole thing. And then it's just complete chaos, and her body is just being thrown back and forth and back and forth. And it really shows off just how dangerous a freaking great white shark is, how powerful they are. They did a great job of doing that because we all know there was really no shark in that scene. They had to do up a rig and basically yank her body back and forth. Number 2, Bone Tomahawk, just for sheer insane craziness. That kill that's in the last act of the movie. One of the characters in the movie, he gets turned upside down, and then the Indian like literally chops him in half. And Terrifier kind of borrowed a little bit from this kill, even though both movies came out around the same time. But I think Bone Tomahawk definitely predates it though. And there's similar kills, but Bone Tomahawk, I think it's even more effective. Because giving the scenario, you know, this is a very serious movie. So when it happens, it's shocking. And it's an image that you will never be able to pull from your skull. Okay, so here we are. First off, take a look at this view right here. This is the lake in the Drumdums backyard. I always say I got Camp Crystal Lake in the back, Haddonfield in the front. It's beautiful out today, guys, here in Melbourne. Anyway, before we mention number 1, I didn't mention the shower scene from Psycho. Easily one of the greatest kills ever. And Alfred Hitchcock's direction in that is so genius. And if you watch every single cut, of course you don't see the knife enter. There's no like entrance wounds in the scene, so there's no like fake dummy busts or anything that are used. It's just straight up camera cuts and camera tricks that make it look real. And it takes a very talented director to pull off something like that. And Alfred Hitchcock was the best. It still lives on to this day, 60 years later. such an iconic scene, and I'm shocked that I forgot about it. Sometimes the greats are just so close to you that you can't even see them. And luckily, I get to mention it in here. So you get 27 kills instead of 25. Anyway, so on to number 1. And then number 1, the burning. The raft scene from The Burning. This is another one of those really iconic kills. Tom Savini, masterwork. Got all these kids that are on this raft and they're coming towards the killer. Or the killer just kind of pops up out of nowhere. And he's got his hedge trimmers. And it's just like complete chaos, carnage candy. He's chopping limbs left and right. And what really sells the scene too is the panic, the screams of the kids. You know, it feels very real. You know, it doesn't feel like a fun slasher type kill. It feels shocking. And really what Tom Savini brings to the table is the payoff. Because it takes a lot of work to put these kills together and sell them and make them realistic. And that's why The Burning is one of the best kill scenes ever. So anyway, guys, that was a lot of fun. Top 25 favorite kills. I'm sure that I missed quite a few. You're going to let me know in the comments your favorite kills. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day, and on Fridays we do Free For All Fridays. Follow my Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.